Vaidheesh, Managing Director and Vice President South Asia, GlaxoSmithKline Pharmaceuticals, Mumbai. I think what NHP has done is fantastic. Healthcare financing is a very, very important component of a good healthcare system. And it's followed in most parts of the world. Only in India, our healthcare financing is very, very small compared to the financing by the other forces rather than the patient himself or herself paying out of pocket. Having 70 to 75% of the expenses are being out of pocket, in my opinion, is not a right approach to managing healthcare in a country where the patients tend to suboptimally purchase healthcare if he or she has to pay out of the pocket. So what government has tried to do is to put the money in the hands of the people who want to consume healthcare, so that when a patient is in a compromised state, physically and emotionally, the person should not be worrying about finance. In fact, this person should be worrying about how am I going to get well, rather than finding out how am I going to get the money to take care of my health. I think what government has done is fantastic, particularly the poor people below poverty line will get addressed. However, one of the recommendations that I had talked about some time back is the fact that the middle class population in this country are the one set of population which is sandwiched, where their aspirations are high in terms of educating the children, or they want to move up the social ladder, and one episode of healthcare put them back in terms of more or less to a bankruptcy, that all their aspirations get destroyed of wanting to do for their family. So if we can come up with, if the government can come up with innovative insurance program where minimum 50,000 rupees insurance cover can be given by Government of India by partnering with various insurance companies, because if they integrate the demand of 200 million people or middle class people, the insurance can be purchased very cheap to the extent of 300 or 400 rupees per annum, and that can be given to all middle class population, so that even if they want to top up, they should be able to add on whatever they want to add up to, say, 1 lakh rupee or 2 lakh rupee of extra insurance cover. So I believe that somewhere down the line, we need to take care of the middle class population of this country through our insurance program. But what government has done for the lower strata of society or the people with limited resources, I think that has been well addressed. I would encourage government to look after the middle class population of this country. That's bulging quite a bit in terms of size as we go forward. First and foremost, I must say that our new CEO, Emma Walmsley, in her own right, is an outstanding leader. I think she has a phenomenal track record of being a great leader within GSK and outside GSK also. So it so happened that she also represents the gender which is not well represented in the boardroom. To that extent, she sets an example. Some of our leadership traits are fantastic, which many of the women who are all aspiring to be in her shoes, they can learn quite a lot from her by way of our strategic approach to driving the growth agenda for the company, a focus on innovation and focus on performance, and building the reputation of the company through building trust of the company. Those are all the key thoughts that she has been driving through her early stage of her time as a CEO in the company. And we believe that GSK is in for a good decade of great leadership under Emma Walmsley, and she can be an inspiring leader, just not for the women, but also for the men who all want to learn a lot of leadership lessons. Well, ethical code, I'm quite sure that most of the companies have some form of ethical code. I'm not saying that our ethical code is anywhere different from any other ethical code, because at the end of the day, what we are talking about, as Hippocrates, the father of medicine, like many of the doctors take Hippocrates' oath, basically talks about kindliness, care, and concern for the patient whom you serve. So what is very important is we are the part of the ecosystem which is supporting this doctor and the patient. And we, as being a responsible member in the ecosystem, we should make sure we don't interfere in the very, what I call it as a pure, nice and holy approach to the patient care. If we start middling around with the decision making of the doctor on what treatment to give, what drugs to give, what medical process that person has to follow, if it gets compromised, patient will get compromised. So the way in which we execute our code of conduct is to make sure that what we say as the way in which to follow is well implemented without fail, and we spare no chance for anyone not to follow the code of conduct. So implementation of the code of conduct is important. In GSK, we strongly believe anybody doesn't follow our code of conduct, we take a great offense to them, to their behavior. Even if their sales performance or a business performance is not that good, but if their ethics and code of conduct is compromised, we don't allow them to continue with our company. So that's the kind of standard that we keep ourselves. At the end of the day, patient is important, and what doctor gives a well-informed decision related to patient treatment is very important to us, and that's why we pride ourselves as being a good executor of a good code of conduct.